isn't just a physical battle. Imagine facing a life-threatening illness while also dealing with fear, isolation, and stigma.
Leaving the emotional and psychological burden unaddressed. There's a thin line between recovery process and suicide ideation.
Welcome to the very first episode of Beyond Awareness podcast with Adesola, where we amplify voices and drive change. This podcast uncovers the real stories behind African health initiatives. We will be exploring the challenges, impact, and solutions shaping our communities. Health is more than just numbers. It's about people, struggles, and resilience. And what better way to begin the journey than by tackling one of the biggest health challenges of our time, cancer. February is Cancer Awareness Month, a time to educate, support, and take action. That is why our very debut episode, Beyond the Diagnosis, Cancer, Mental Health, and Emotional Resilience, takes a deeper look at the emotional and psychological toll of cancer. Cancer isn't just a physical battle. Imagine facing a life-threatening illness while also dealing with fear, isolation, and stigma. In Africa, where mental health support is often scarce, many patients and caregivers suffer in silence. But what if we could change that? What if we could break the silence, challenge misconception, and build stronger support system? My guest for today is Mr. Ademoh, the founder of BlakMoh Wellbeing Foundation, an organization dedicated to improving cancer patients and survivors and caregivers. Mr. Ahmed and his team are doing incredible work in providing mental health support and breaking the stigma around cancer. Mr. Ahmed, welcome to the show. Can we officially meet you? Can you tell us about BlakMoh Consulting, BlakMoh Foundation? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the honor and the introduction, for having me on your maiden podcast edition. So again, my name is Ademola Mohammed, popularly called MentorMoh, and I am the founder of BlakMoh Wellbeing Foundation. And I need to give a background to how the foundation came to be. So the profit-making part of my career is the BlakMoh Consult, where we offer psychosocial support services and learning and development services. But over the years, I been a clinical psychologist. I have observed that beyond just services, there are people who actually need further care and support outside the scope of just business. So we had to create a sort of CSR, like a corporate social responsibility, but as a standalone, yes. And why we actually had to be more confident about coming out in 2024 was born out of the fact that I lost my sister to cancer.
Oh no! Sorry.
Just 3 days after my birthday in June last year, and the whole journey from the first to the second quarter of the year, the whole experience, it was something that rediscovered me, that made me find myself again, that brought me to the awareness of what the realities of several other caregivers, patients, and relatives experiencing challenges of terminal illness such as cancer in Africa. So I needed to do something, not just for myself, but what I felt my sister would have wanted, because I know she's heavy in the space of charity also. And then we needed to just put a structure into it. And here we are providing support, mental health support, physical and community health support to improving well-being generally, So then
your from the BlakMoh Wellbeing Foundation is born more out of your personal experience and what your sister went through. But how does the mental well-being and their mental state affect the cancer patient? Do you think it actually contributes more to the illness if they don't have so much support?
Absolutely. There's a statement, strong strong mind, strong body, and uh, at first hand, I've come to realize that cancer care in Africa, all we focus on is primarily the medical treatment, okay? Leaving the
Okay.
emotional and psychological burden unaddressed, and that aspect, the psychosocial support, is actually the very more important aspect, especially in the field of palliative care. So many patients and caregivers and even healthcare providers, they struggle in silence, and this actually culminates. This increases the mental health conditions, including anxiety, depression, which consequently diminishes the quality of life of the patients. And I can give you practical examples because my sister's experience, we were in two or three general hospitals across Southwest Nigeria and two private specialist hospitals, and the experiences we had across board actually showed that it was important. The hospitals that had more attention to the emotional well-being of the clients of my sister actually helped improve her quality of life. So
okay. So the hospitals also pay more attention to the emotional well-being now.
Now the private hospitals, the high-profile private hospitals,
Okay.
they do that because you see that in how the caregivers actually, show care, kindness, compassion, they show active listening, and when the medical professionals are around, even when in their minds they know that this condition might be terminal, they still give a sense of hope. They give that support to the family members. But in the general hospitals, my sister, it's a death trap.
Wow.
Yes, you get to see matrons or caregivers telling you clearly that don't do anything again, just take your ward home. Yes, that's what they say. Like, don't waste your money and all again. So I can assure you that
that's enough. That is even enough to actually kill the patient before the actual time.
Absolutely.
So how does your organization provide support, and what impact have you seen so far?
Okay, so sometimes if you are not directly involved in an experience, you don't get to see those experiences. It's like law of attraction. It's like the red card test. If I asked you now that how many red cards did you see yesterday on your way to work, you might not be able to even tell me I saw 10 red cards or 15 red cards. But I'm sure by the end of today, but if I asked you how many red cards you saw,
I will look out for it.
You'll look out for it. Yeah. So same as my experiences. I now realize that because after the experience, I was speaking in forums, opportunities to speak in gatherings, and I saw how much a lot of people around me had direct relatives or friends or families who were passing through the experience of having to manage someone with the cancer condition, and that in itself gave the urgency to provide safe spaces. So the first thing we did in the foundation was to provide support groups. We had a WhatsApp community where whether you're a patient, whether you're a survivor or you're a caregiver, and you're willing to share experiences, we could have that online meetings and talk about these things, find encouragement and build resilience. A lot, especially for those that are on the journey. Probably sharing tips on how they can cope with the financial challenges. Because cancer is an expensive condition to treat.
Sure.
Yes, and then more importantly is access to information too. Oncology care in the country, you need to have information to make the right decision, so you don't even waste money in the process. So the first thing we did was made it clear to people that we are a support group and that
you provide them a safe space for them to talk about it.
Yes. So then beyond the support group is providing counseling and therapy. As of last night, I still had a session with a man who lost his wife to breast cancer in November last year, and he's going through a serious process of grieving, and it comes into sessions 3 times a week, and you know that is something we offer pro bono,
Wow.
so those that
For your
yes, so
foundation, coming
yes,
from your
yes,
foundation.
yes,
Okay,
we offer
as a
that.
way as a way to support the society.
Yes, yes. So we offer counseling and therapy support too, because you see, there's a thin line between recovery process and suicide ideation. And we've had cases where even patients have actually recovered from chemo, but the social isolation and the disconnectedness they had led to so much intense hopelessness, and people around them weren't seeing it. So even patients recovering might show smiles and all that, but deep down in them, there's a disconnect. So it requires professional intervention for them to actually get back to full recovery. And that's why, whether it is at early detection where the fear and anxiety is high, or it is in between the process when the treatment is ongoing, or it is even at the end of the treatment process where we are focusing on recovery. At all these different stages, therapeutic interventions are very, very, very crucial. So we organize mindfulness and stress reduction programs for patient relatives especially.
To support patients and
Yes,
relatives.
yes,
Oh.
yes. It's very, very important. Yes, and during the process, we offer them acceptance commitment therapies. Because you have to accept your objective reality for you to actually have a clear pathway to being a problem solver in such situations. And more
I agree with
importantly
you.
is to, yes, you see, the problem is we in such situations we always focus on the end goal, rather than focusing on the everyday, every moment experience, which actually strengthens the process of the patients towards recovery. So
Okay.
then the last one is the community engagement, which I actually spoke about earlier. We ensure that any environment where we have the opportunity to speak about cancer health, we request for invitations, and then we go there to speak to people, so they are more
Okay,
aware.
that's going to my to the next question I'm about to
Okay.
ask. Talking
All right
about
then.
health communication and the role
Yes.
in reducing the stigma and ensuring people get the support they need. I would like you to share with us what kind of communication strategy do you use in your program? You just mentioned community engagement now. Aside community engagement, how do you actually reach your target audience in terms of communication? How are they aware about your program? And what are the means and method
Okay.
and approach you are using to communicate, to drive this positive change in their lives?
I think I want to say that communication is actually everything. Yes, and that's like a pivotal is a pivot to solving this problem associated with especially the stigma, in talking about cancer, and then because there's a mental health component to this event. Naturally, when you talk about mental health support in Africa, you see the stigma associated with it. Now, for cancer conditions, patients themselves already feel, depressed, dejected, and all.
No, they're
And
already
then,
low.
and so because of the stigma again associated with, this person has this thing. Some people are so misinformed that they even think that it is contagious. So, tackling the misinformation and cultural beliefs, the approach we have always used was to provide evidence-based, culturally sensitive communication strategies. And the very first approach that has always worked is storytelling. Okay, bringing people, maybe cancer survivors, or probably patient relatives like myself, sharing the stories and the experiences, or even bringing health professionals, caregivers who are sound in the space of oncology care, bringing them to talk about mental health, bringing them to talk about cancer and mental health,
And also
to
to actually
people.
educate and create awareness it's not contagious. Because that's I
Exactly,
can because
exactly.
if the
Yes,
caregivers have that notion that cancer is contagious, it's going to have a toll on the patient itself, because they'll probably not want to move too close, or probably not want to
yes,
show so much care, because they are
absolutely.
also scared of their own life. So, and that
Yes,
is also is like a form of stigma.
yes. I think in a recent news flash I saw, um, the founder of BRECAN, Breast Cancer Association of Nigeria, he spoke about a journey in the news, and I think it was even a video. And if you looked at a journey from, I think it was in the early 90s